I think it's time to talk about our favorite games this weekend, Thomas. We were going through them together. This is a good week, man. You have Chargers, Fins. You have Jets, Bills, which I think will be a great game. Obviously, the game Thursday. What game are you the most looking forward to this coming weekend?
I'm looking forward to the Cowboys and the Giants. I mean, I know that's probably like, oh, okay, Thomas, of course you are. It's on Monday Night Football, etc. But again, I am really excited to see what Dallas does defensively, bringing in Gilmore. I was talking to my good friend Dan Quinn recently, and he's excited about that back seven, about how they can operate. They have added speed. They have talent there, of course. We all love Micah Parsons and what he can do. I just like what that defense can do, and understanding how important that defense is going to be. And this is where I want to toss it to you as well. Toss it over and say, okay, well, then you have Dak Prescott. He's got to stop throwing interceptions. But as I mentioned recently, it's not only his fault. I mean, half of those balls that were dropped last year or intercepted could be laid on the receivers too, right? Yep. So the point is having a strong defense, thriving defense that I think Dan can take the defense to, Dan Quinn, to having an offense. What I don't agree is the worry about interceptions coming from Prescott and that they might, and Mike Double M might bring it back and be a little more conservative with the approach. I don't believe so, man. I think you got to go for it. You can't be worried and get real conservative with him because you think he's now just randomly tossing INTs. I know you need to control it. I get it. I think you need to play your game.
Yeah, I actually look, Matthew Stafford 2 years ago led the league in interceptions and won a Super Bowl. Phil Simms won a Super Bowl with throwing more than 20 interceptions. You look up and down the field. Like Peyton Manning had a lot of years with 14, 15 interceptions. Warren Moon threw a lot of interceptions. Like John Elway threw a lot of interceptions. I think interceptions interception can tell you some stuff. And to me, what it tells you is that Dak Prescott's going to throw the ball into high leverage places. And I think when you have talent like CeeDee Lamb, they bring over Brandon Cooks, who I know has been everywhere in the league, but has been productive kind of basically everywhere he's gone. Michael Gallup coming off the ACL. They brought that Ferguson from Wisconsin to play tight end. And then they got Pollard in the backfield, and on a great offensive line too. If I had those players, I'd make them drop the ball. I mean this, I would throw them passes in dangerous spots because I trust them. And they had some variance. They had some drops. They had some, and a lot of Dak's interceptions were at inopportune times, which is not really predictive. And so all this is to say, I think bringing in Cooks, opening up the middle of the field with his deep threat, I think that helps him a lot. I think Mike McCarthy's a little underrated as a coach. And even though I really think Kellen Moore is an upgrade for the Chargers, I think McCarthy will do a good enough job here. To your point about the defense, I mean, look at Malik Hooker's a great safety. Jaron Kearse is a great, they got players all up and down. This is a talented football team, and I'm really excited. I think that they're as good of an odds to win the NFC East as the Eagles are. I look at the other side, and again, when I think about this team, again, 9-7-1 last year, the Giants. Mm-hmm. Kind of a point differential of more like a 7-10 team, right? So got a good easy schedule. Going into the year, their schedule is about a point easier per game on a neutral field than the average team. Brian Daboll's credit, took advantage of it, made the playoffs, won a playoff game on the road. Very impressive effort against Minnesota. This season, they have one of the hardest schedules I've ever seen. They don't have a bye until week 12 or 13. I think 8 of their first 13 games are on the road. Obviously playing a division with both Eagles and Cowboys. I think that when I talked about concern about, okay, if Detroit takes a step back here, I don't want them firing everybody. I have similar concerns about the Giants. I don't think that they'll reset if they have a bad year, but I have concerns because I think this is a team on the rise, and I think it's a team that'll get better this year, but I don't know if they'll have a better record, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, you hit the nail on the head with it. I mean, it's a tough schedule to be playing, and I think it's a great game to kick them off with, right? Both of the teams. I think where we are right now with the Giants, with their talent right now. I think they're, and their coaching. I mean, look, I think he won Coach of the Year, right? We're thinking about Brian Daboll I've just been really impressed with how that team has been pulling things together. And I'm also talking about Joe Shane and company as well, right? I think they're thought out. They have obviously a very good president and a long-standing president and owner of the team in John Mara, who is really good with that group right now. I think he really appreciates it. I think he's moved on from the idea of having those elder statesmen in that position. He's got two younger guys that I really think he likes dealing with. And, even though I'm a fan of what they've done in New York over the years at different spots, there've been some tough times, of course. I think they're rising above that there, and I think it's going to be fun to watch this game.
Yeah, and defensively, they patched together some of their weaknesses. Deonte Banks, I think, has some real potential at corner for them out of Maryland, one of the better corners in last year's draft. They got Thibodeau and Evan Neal. Now, there are some questions. Neal has not played all that well for the first year and change of his career, but we remember Andrew Thomas really struggled coming out of Georgia in 2020, and he's earned one of the best contracts in the history of the position. So that can improve. I'm excited for that game.